What's the difference between frugal and cheap? Find out on today's episode of Frugal BC. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Frugal BC, the show that teaches you how to save more money, invest more, so you can become financially independent. I'm BC. Today I want to talk about the difference between frugality and just plain old being cheap. So a lot of times these two terms get used interchangeably, and I don't think that's correct. I think there's a strong difference between frugality and cheap. So, cheap means you're unwilling to pay money even when you feel like you should, no matter what. You always default to not spending money. Frugality is about conserving your resources, making smart purchasing decisions, and not wasting money. So it's really hard to teach the difference between those two things without examples. So I'm going to talk about some examples today. A good example that I like to use is the difference between being frugal and cheap is frugal means you make most of your meals at home instead of going out to a restaurant. Cheap means you order takeout, but you don't leave a tip. That's being cheap. If I do go out to a restaurant, I leave a really good tip. Those people have to work hard for that money. They deserve, you paid for a service. They don't get paid a lot from hourly wages because of the way that system works. So you should really tip them very well. If you're definitely being cheap, if you're not tipping. Making your own food at home, and only saving restaurants for a special occasion, that's being frugal. Another great example I like to use from my grandpa. Sorry, Grandpa, wherever you are, I'm sure you're not too thrilled about me sharing this, but my grandpa had a chair. It was his favorite chair. And one day, he sat in this chair every day. And my grandpa had plenty of money at this point. He was retired. He had a great amount of money in the bank, plus he was getting Social Security. He was fine financially. So the chair breaks one day. It actually, the back falls off of the chair. Mind you, again, he's got plenty of money to replace this chair, or even to actually have it repaired. But instead, he takes the chair and pushes it up against the wall to prop up the back of the chair, and that's how he sat in the chair until he passed. He never got it replaced. When he passed, I got a pair of brand new leather gloves that someone had given him that he just never touched because he would wear these gardening gloves in the winter. And some of that goes, it's almost like it's a matter of too far versus, you could sort of argue that's frugal, but it seems extremely cheap to me. And I don't think that's not the way to live. The point is to not waste money, but it's you should spend money where you need to or where it gives you benefit. I always liked Mr. Money Mustache's view of spend in the way that will bring the maximum amount of happiness. And I think that needs pulling apart a little bit, because you might think, oh, well, that new Nintendo system, or, maybe that PS5 would really make me happy. But it's not about immediate happiness. It's about long-term happiness. So maybe the PS5 will bring you a lot of long-term happiness. Maybe that, maybe at the start of the pandemic or even going into the winter, you thought, the pandemic, man, I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. I can go outside a little bit, but I'm going to have a lot of time where I'm not socializing. So maybe buying this PS5 is a good idea. And if you thought about that and you planned it out and you thought, this is something I want to do, I think this is a good idea, it might make sense to make that purchase. I can still see that being frugal if you know you're going to use it. So I haven't bought a new system since the PS3, and the reason why is because I know that I will play with it for 2 months or less, and then I just won't use it anymore. So what would be the point of buying something like that if I'm not going to use it? I hope this helped you today. I really think there's a strong difference between frugal and cheap, and I think it's a really important distinction. It can be a subtle one, but I think it's really important for you guys to know that, because I think a lot of times they get used interchangeably, and I've been called cheap, and I don't appreciate it because I think it's wrong. I don't mind at all being called frugal, because I think I am frugal. So that's the important thing. I hope you guys take away something from that episode. And, I want to hear your thoughts too. Do you think that's a silly distinction to make? Let me know in the comments. And as always, hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps a lot. I appreciate everyone who has so far. I'm Frugal BC, and I'll see you next time.